Hey guys, this is Wolf Hoffman from Accept, and you're watching CMS TV. Meta.
It is the Macaulay Schenker Group under the MSG banner there from the Perfect Timing release from 1987 with Gimme Your Love.
Good stuff there. Love Robin.
Yeah, you too. Have you ever met Robin?
In person? No, but I've interviewed him a dozen times. He's a friend. I've interviewed him many times. Me and Robin, we go way back.
I got Robin back together with Michael Schenker Group. I'm the one who re-established that lineup.
Actually, I know we're busting Trunk's balls to no end, but Robin Macaulay, nicest guy. He is so nice. And we had the last time that I chatted with him, we had techie problems.
Yeah.
Man, this guy could not have been more accommodating.
Yeah, sure.
He was like, I've got other interviews today, but just here's my email address. Hit me up. We'll do it anytime you need, and he was like totally complimentary of this show and me, and just the nicest guy, man. So I do anything to help him. He has a new record coming out here, a new solo record sometime. I'm not sure when. I know he just released a single, but I don't know when the album comes out.
Right. He was part of some kind of a Christmas fundraiser thing out in West Chicago, and that's when I met that what was her, Amy Sugar. Remember Amy?
Oh yeah, Amy Sugar.
Yeah, she was kind of a goofy chick.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. And she was involved with Michael Schenker,
right,
as his girlfriend, and she more or less just kind of reached out to me just out of the blue because she was, pumping her solo disc that featured Michael Schenker on,
the
guitar.
Sugar Schenker record.
Exactly. And so after that kind of went south, and I met Amy in person, and that's when I met Robin as well, because she was playing on that bill. And, I got to meet Robin and chit chat with him and stuff in person. As you said, nicest guy, just a very friendly, accommodating. And, Amy, nice enough chick, just kind of goofy.
Yeah, but a chick. Bottom line, a chick.
Yeah. And so I interviewed Michael Schenker
right
after that for, I don't remember which record it was. It was this years ago. But then I asked him, straight out about what's the story with you and that, Amy Sugar, what was the thing, and he said, oh, he met this girl and she was a guitarist, and, she was trying to make it in the business, and, she wanted him to help her out with her, her record. And he said, they started, dating and stuff. And then I think his actual words was, then she started exhibiting a peculiar behavior. I think that was the quote. And he says, then she basically wanted to, latch onto his coattails, more or less.
Right.
But
how much of a weirdo do you have to be if Michael Schenker thinks you're a weirdo?
And then after that, she kind of went off into oblivion. I know that she had gotten some kind of deal where she endorsed some with Daisy Guitars. I think it was Daisy.
Okay.
Yeah. I think she, got some kind of an endorsement deal with them or something. And then, she just sort of disappeared.
Yeah. Well, as a lot of them do, they're here, they're gone, pretty quickly a lot of times. So,
she just kind of came and went, but her biggest claim to fame obviously was her a collaboration with Michael Schenker.
Right.
So that was just kind of a weird, just a weird happening over just a short window there.
Right.
So, but yeah, I remember that. I mean, that was like 2006, I think, somewhere around there.
Sure.
Was when I met Robin at that Christmas fundraising thing.
Right.
So, just bizarre. But man, you're right about thinking back about how long things have been. It's just like, man, that was
that's another 20-year thing.
14, 15, 16, almost 17 years ago already.
That's what I mean. Every single thing now, dude. It's like, have we just been sitting in our houses for like the last 15 years? Because every single thing we reference anymore is like, 18 years ago when I met blah blah blah.
Yeah.
No
kidding.
It's just crazy how the time is just getting away from all of us, and before long, we'll all be gone.
Yeah.
That's the craziest part about it is, dude, seeing how many people are just fucking dropping dead. It's like, whew, you bet if you ain't appreciating every day, you are doing something very wrong, because there's just no telling how many are left.
True.
I don't know, dude. I mean, I don't want to say it's scary, but it really is kind of shocking how many people are just dropping dead.
Yeah. 2022 was bad for people passing.
Yeah. And dude, I mean, 2023 didn't start out a whole lot better. I mean, when you see, I mean, I know you're not watching football, but did you see that football player?
Yeah, I know. And, again, controversy always, all the misinformation, disinformation,
Right.
of course, people went right away. It's like, did he get that COVID shot?
Oh.
And then I watched this whole montage of all these like soccer players and basketball players and stuff. They're just out on the court, just doing their thing. And then they just fall over.
Yeah.
And the way that he reacted, after the hit, the exact same way, and it's just like, well, who knows? Nobody's a medical expert. I mean, you could sit there and speculate all you want, but, immediately it goes disinformation. It's like,
of course.
It's like, how do you know?
The fact checkers were out and about this week.
They were, absolutely. Well, then of course says, well, maybe he suffers from this really rare, extremely rare syndrome that if you just hit him just in the exact right place in his chest, it'll cause your heart to stop.
Right.
All this, and like, so that's plausible, but the COVID shot is not plausible.
Yeah, the unproven medication, no chance that could happen.
No.
So. I know it's nuts. And I mean, and even if they had some, this is the bad part about it. Even if they had, total proof that it was that, they'll never admit it.
No, of course, that's the whole thing. It's just like, hurry up, put that fire out immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the whole thing. But yes, I did see that, and yes, I did. It was all over the news, so it was hard not to see it.
Yeah.
Because it's everywhere. And then, God bless the guy that, the fact that the people acted as quickly as they did to, revive him.
Yeah. Saved him
and get him going and stuff. And, just the fact that, when you're NFL player or a movie star, TV star was just somebody that's involved with a, pastime, whether it's sports or movies or TV or
sure.
Music or whatever. I guess they established like a GoFundMe account, and I guess it raised like $4 million, and like
it's actually over 6 million last time I heard.
Yeah, but it was like in 24 hours it raised like $4 million.
Yeah. And again, this goes back. I talked about this somewhere. I might just have been on the phone anymore. I don't know when I'm talking, if I'm on a camera or not, but here's the issue that I have with that thing. And I don't want to have an issue. I'm glad the dude seemingly is okay. I heard that he FaceTimed with his teammates and stuff, and that he's okay. So that's good. I mean, he's going to have a long road back. He's probably never going to play football again, but whatever. Hopefully he got a good couple of million out of his rookie contract and he's okay. But, and if not, he's got all that money that he raised, but this is what drives me nuts. So from all accounts, this guy, this Bills player, was a good guy, and he was out trying to raise money for like a Toys for Kids Christmas drive or something.
Yeah, just like what I was talking about with Macaulay, Robin Macaulay and that Amy Sugar.
Yeah, and he had he was having a toy drive trying to raise $2,500 for these kids. And before he got hurt, he couldn't raise $2,500. But because he got hurt and he was on TV getting hurt, then everybody's willing to fucking donate to these kids because they're what? Pretend empathetic? I mean, that's just shallow.
Yeah, I agree.
That just bugs me. That people glad that they donated a bunch of money and it'll help a bunch of kids and blah 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 blah. That's all wonderful and fantastic and all that. But the false narrative of, well, I saw him on TV, so it's worth me throwing $20 now.
Well, that's kind of, you're making my exact point. It's just that if you're involved with a popular pastime, people are willing to, throw some shekels at you.
Yeah. And how pathetic, how pathetic is that before that, when he was trying to do something nice, nobody could give a fuck.
Right.
The guy had to literally almost die in order for people to say, oh, well, now I care. I care that these kids get a fucking fire truck for Christmas.
What a great Christmas story. This man died for your toys.
Yes. Oh, let's make the Hallmark movie of the week then, which I'm sure they've already got somebody writing the script for.
He's like the Black Jesus. He died for your toys.
Don't you think that there probably is somebody already writing a script?
I'm sure there is. What the miracle on the field?
Yeah. We'll see it on the week of kickoff next year. It'll be poorly acted because it'll just be shitty. Like then there'll be the Buffalo Thrills because they can't get the licensing to the Bills.
Right. It'll be brought to you by Lume.
Yeah, that's right. Does your ass stink from playing football? Well, just rub this in your ass crack and you'll be better.
Right, exactly.
That's what Damar Hamlin uses, Lume. He was dead and his ass still didn't stink.
Right. It even covers up the smell of rotting flesh.
That's right. It covers up the smell of death.
Right. The stink of death.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I agree with you though. It was just it's just the immediacy and this is why, again, so many people don't need a voice.
No, they don't.
They don't need a voice. But it went into all speculation. Now the new one is that I saw today was, are people going to turn away from the NFL? What a violent game that is.
Oh, shut it.
And I'm going, okay, this kid, suffered a medical emergency on the field. Nobody even knows if it was a result of playing football.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to talk about people who suffered on the field, talk about Shazier from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy got paralyzed on the field, momentarily and never played football again. Or Jack Tatum and what was his name?
Daryl Stingley.
Daryl Stingley. That guy never walked again.
Yeah, that guy was like vegetableized.
Yeah. So, those are guys who really suffered some, bad shit on the field from hard hits and things.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's just like football is a violent sport. And I think I saw today that, what was it? The Bills or was it the Bills or the Bengals or somebody? They did a quote unquote, a walkthrough practice because they didn't want to do any hitting. Did you hear that?
I didn't hear that. No.
Walkthrough practice. It's like,
well, dude. I mean, look, even them canceling the game.
Yeah, I know.
How do you even do that, boy? If I was a person that was in like a gambler, oh, I would be furious. Especially the way the NFL is fucking pimping gambling these days.
Right.
Oh my God, would I be mad if I had, 10 grand on the Bills or something and they canceled the game as a no contest? Oh, I would be fucking pissed.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing. Football has been around for how many years has the NFL or professional football? I won't say the NFL because obviously that didn't get established till the early part of the 70s, but the AFL, all that kind of stuff from back in the 50s, 40s, 30s.
It's probably 100 at this point, isn't it?
It got postponed or during the war, so it was pre-war that they were doing professional sports.
Professional football is traced back to 1892.
All right, so there you are, as you said, over 100 years.
Yeah.
So we've had over 100 and 10, 20,
125 years,
100, almost 130 years of football.
Yeah.
We have one incident like this that's questionable as to exactly what caused the incident, and now they're talking about, football's a violent sport. And it's like, how many thousands of people have played football and we've never had issues? You know what I mean? Obviously the head injuries that have caused guys to to commit suicide and things, that's something that are being studied and whatever. But as far as like having real trauma on the field, how many times has that happened? You can count it on one hand.
Yeah. And the other thing that they've done now, and again, it goes to the current state of the world today. They now, have you noticed how little they talk about the stuff that they used to glamorize in the day with football? Like, like one of the big stories of lore was that Ronnie Lott from the 49ers,
right?
He broke his finger real bad and he cut the tip of his finger off so he could keep playing.
Right.
Like that's like one of those,
folklore things.
Yeah, folklore type deals.
Yeah, sure.
They don't talk about that anymore. They don't talk about these guys, head slapping. And remember back in the 50s and 60s when you watched like Ed Too Tall Jones, or maybe that's the 70s, but when these guys would rush in, the first thing they did was slap the guy in the head.
Yeah, of course.
These guys were all playing with their bell rung, but we don't talk about that anymore.
Nope.
And anybody that's had a CTE, a brain injury thing, we don't talk about them ever. Like Junior Seau, one of the greatest linebackers in the history of the fucking NFL. Right. You don't hear his name ever.
Nope.
You still hear about Lawrence Taylor that's been arrested 400 fucking times. He's still a goddamn legend, but Junior Seau, barely ever do you ever hear his name. Why? Because they don't want any focus brought on the fact that they made his brain scrambled.
Yeah, or Mike Webster.
Yeah, Mike Webster, another one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he died of his brain being scrambled too, right?
Yeah, they donated, his family donated his brain to science to be studied.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, he died at, I think, 52 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And he was homeless. That was
that's pretty sad.
He was living in his truck in like Nashville or some shit.
Yeah. Well, the NFL, they don't have enough money to take care of their fucking retired players. They only make $5 billion a year.
Exactly. Hail and kill caller, you're on the air. Oh, there it goes. Gone.
Thanks for calling.
So yeah, but I was seeing all these stupid, will people start turning away from the NFL? Is the NFL done? Is this such a violent game that we're going to have to impose stricter rules and, blah, blah, blah. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah. It's like, relax.
It's like we've been playing, again, the professional football, as Chris mentioned there, over 100 and almost 130 years already.
No.
And we get this one incident like this, and all of a sudden it's just like, oh, we're going to have to scrap this game now. Fuck this. We're just going to have to scrap it. It's over. It's just no good.
And if people would just open their eyes just a little bit, they would see never going to happen. Let's call it the way it is. If you've watched any football this year, anybody that's watched it, I know, Neeley, you probably have not.
I have not watched one game.
But if you've watched any NFL football this year, one thing is true. They have invited gambling into the game now. Every single commercial is
FanDuel.
FanDuel, DraftKings, MGM Bets. I mean, they have, and you know what that does for the NFL. That just puts more and more money. They're not doing it out of the graciousness of their heart. They are absolutely making money from letting these betting books be official sponsors of this, that, and the other. And so they're making more money with it. I don't think a death on the field would stop the NFL. I was surprised that they stopped the game. I'm not going to say that it was a wrong decision. I kind of agree with it. I mean, you know, that they stopped the game. I know in other situations they might have, but I'll go back to WWE when Owen Hart fell out of the rafters and died, and they just kept on going.
Right.
And I mean, still 30 years later, people are hammering Vince McMahon over that decision. So, you know, it would not be very smart to have these players all distraught and then have them going out there and more guys getting hurt, I guess. You know, so I guess I'm okay with them canceling the game or at least postponing it. They should have replayed it or played it the next day or some shit.
Picked up where they left off or something.
Yeah, something. But, you know, my point is that there's nothing going to stop the NFL. Nothing.
But the way that the little bit that I've read, just the way that they talk about it in such a horror, you know, it's just a horror what happened out there. It's a horror. It's like, well, no, it's not like somebody ran up and took this guy's head off.
Yeah, it's not like somebody shot him with a gun.
Yeah, you know, it's not like it was like a dirty hit.
No.
I mean, look at, again, I'm going to go back as recently as Ryan Shazier of the Steelers playing.
Yeah.
You know, this guy got paralyzed on the field.
Sure.
You know, and they carted his ass off and continued with the game.
Yeah, I mean, look at even just a few years ago. I mean, he didn't die, but the guy was completely fucked for the rest of his career and still seems like he's fucked up in his brain. Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
He took that massive fucking hit from Vontaze Burfict.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
In with the Bengals, and that guy's been a fucking lunatic mess ever since. You know, he literally, you know, seemingly lost his mind from that hit.
Yeah.
And you know, they still keep him. Not only do they keep the NFL going, but they keep employing that guy. That guy keeps getting jobs.
It's goofy. Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air.
Is that me?
That's you.
Oh. I have a Sebastian story for you guys if you want to take it. I don't know what you guys are talking about right now.
Well, we're talking football right now. So
yeah, I don't want to mess up your flow with the Sebastian story.
Call back when we talk about Sebastian and listen to the show.
But I don't listen live, man. I only listen to it. This is the first time I've ever had to call in.
All right. Hail and kill. I'm not listening live. I got a story for you.
All right. Well, yeah.
All right. So, as you were saying, well, Antonio Brown, so that guy is goofed up as for sure. Now he's not working now, is he?
Not right now, he's not. But I mean, he's been a weirdo ever since he got hit, and he's had 2 or 3 different jobs since.
Yeah, and he keeps getting arrested.
Yeah, he keeps getting arrested. He's having all kinds of fucking problems. And believe me, I have not heard one person say, you know what, we really need to think about canceling the NFL for a while so that we can figure out how to save this poor man's health.
Right, of course.
No one gives a shit. The only reason, dude, if this would have had, and this is, I heard this point on like some talk podcasts, and it's a great point. If this shit would have happened in week 5 on a non-Monday night football game, they would not have canceled the game. No one would have. They might have finished playing the game that day,
probably,
and no one would have ever heard about it. You'd have seen the hit, and then you'd have been like, "Oh, wow, that was something." And then now let's get back to our game.
Yeah,
that would have been it. But because it was on Monday Night Football and it was kind of a deciding game for the playoffs and whatever, that's why people watched.
Sure.
Yeah, it was and it was spooky. I ain't gonna lie. I saw it. I mean, I didn't see it live. It happened when I was doing Chris Aiken Presents with Eric.
Right.
But I went back. It's funny. I got a text. I got to tell you the story because it really fucking annoyed me. So I get a text from Kelly and she's like, "Are you seeing this fucking shit?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Turn on your TV." And so I turn on, I start watching, and they were talking about it. And they had that Ryan Clark, and he played for the Steelers, didn't he? Ryan Clark?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They had him on, and he was visibly upset, because he's a former player. So I get that he's on there upset. But then you got this fucking ghoul, Scott Van Pelt.
Okay.
The bald guy with the glasses.
Yeah.
This fucking guy is a ghoul. He just he didn't know what to do, so he figured he would just keep jabbing the fucking, the nerve that was dangling out there. And he just kept going. He saw that this Ryan Clark guy was upset and near tears, and he kept going, "Well, don't you think you should continue the game? And don't you think that this is what should happen? And obviously we care about this guy's health, but what about this and that?" I mean, he kept poking the bear to keep this guy yelling.
Right.
And then when that wasn't enough, then he went to the sideline reporters, and the sideline reporters were doing their best sad voice. They had the girl on, I forget what her name is. That was the sideline reporter. And she's like, "Yes, Scott, it's a very sad moment here. It's very difficult to be down here on the sideline."
Sure.
I'm like, is it? Is it really difficult? You're still getting paid? Shut up. But it was like a ghoulish thing. This was one of them times where ESPN could have done everybody a favor and just said, "All right, we're going to go to other programming right now. We're not going to fucking create a bunch of unnecessary grief."
Right.
The family, this Hamlin guy's family, some of them probably didn't even know this guy was hurt or injured or.
Well, that's the whole thing. Nobody knew to what extent this, his medical emergency was.
Yeah. But these ghouls are making it sound like he's dead on the field. They didn't say that, so I'm not saying that they said that at all. They definitely said, they performed CPR and blah blah blah. But they made they were kind of saying it without saying it. They kept this Van Pelt ghoul. He kept saying, and I'm gonna keep calling him a ghoul because he's a fucking ghoul. He kept saying things like, and he was using the sad voice too. And he was like, "I've never seen anything like it with the players surrounding Damar Hamlin so nobody could see what was going on." And I was like, "Have you ever seen an injury in the NFL, you dick?" Every injury in the NFL, they surround the player.
Sure.
Honestly, I mean, you've watched enough football to know that, right, dude?
Absolutely.
Every injury where they bring on the cart, they surround the player. The players do. So, and again, not trying to diminish this traumatic injury that this guy had, but just stop with the ghoulish banter. Oh, I don't know what's going on. It's been 10 minutes and I can still vaguely see some hands moving like they might be giving him CPR. And I really don't know what more we can report than that. Let's go to Troy Aikman and Joe Buck in the booth. Guys, what do you see from up above?
Right.
Scott, we see the same thing you do. No shit, because you're all watching from the same fucking camera. You dick. Oh, it fucking made me sick. I was literally angry and yelling at my television. Get this.
You were getting that upset, huh?
I was, and not because this guy was hurt. I was getting more upset because I had this fucking ghoul on the TV.
Right.
Just trying to drum it up, just trying to spin it into more than it was. Not that it wasn't bad. It was. But they didn't need. It was kind of like, and again, I know somebody's going to take this the wrong way. Don't take it the wrong way. I've got 20 years now. I think I'm allowed to say this. It was kind of like the fifth day of 9/11 coverage. Remember the first day or two of 9/11 coverage and none of us could get away from the TV?
Yeah, of course.
You just couldn't walk away from it. But by like day 5 or 6, you were kind of like, all right, I got to move forward here. I got to do something. I got to work. I got to not be glued to the TV. I can't deal with this much shit in my head, you know? And that's when these guys started with their, could it have been the government? Could it have been a fake plane? Could it? You remember all that shit that went down? And
well, that was the launch of mainstream conspiracy theorists. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But all that stuff this was like the Cliff Notes version of that on Monday.
Right.
It was very much this Ghoul just being like, I don't know, but if you've gone 20 minutes without air to your brain, that could cause brain damage. Let's go to a doctor that we saw walking into the hospital in Cincinnati.
Right.
And they go to some fucking guy that probably was just showing up for his shift.
Yeah, had no idea what was going on.
Yeah. Didn't know what was up. He's like, okay, you're doctor. So what are you? Well, I'm a podiatrist. Oh, well, you would know. It's like, let's talk about brain injury.
Yeah. If you don't get enough oxygen to your big toe, will it fall off?
Yeah, it was just, and I'm not saying that they did that. I'm just saying that they were just grabbing anybody at the fucking hospital.
Right.
One guy that I did see them and again, made me fucking enraged mad. They interviewed Damar Hamlin's brother-in-law, I think he was. I think it was his brother-in-law. It wasn't his brother. It was his brother-in-law.
All right.
Not that guy wouldn't have any, real concern for this guy.
Sure.
He obviously would. But the guy said in the first sentence, he said, what have you heard? And the guy says, I really haven't heard any more than you guys have. They're only letting immediate family in. So I wasn't allowed in.
Right.
So then they interview him anyway, like he had been in the room, pumping on Damar Hamlin's heart. They literally like, so was he awake? Did he seem like he was going to recover? What are you hearing? What did the doctors tell you? And the guy just told you. They didn't tell him shit. You know what they told him? The waiting room's over there.
Yeah.
That's what they fucking told him.
Have a seat.
Yeah. Fucking Ghoul. That fucking glasses wearing douchebag needs to fucking retire. He's a Ghoul.
Yeah.
He really annoyed me.
Well, I like the some of the coverage that I have read. It's just like, this Damar Hamlin collapsed on the field after being hit by the chest, causing his heart to stop. Now, is that really what happened? I don't know if that's what happened. Is that what happened?
I mean, how do we know that? We don't know that.
I don't know that. I mean, yeah. Did he collapse? Yeah. Is that what caused him to collapse? I don't know.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, I watched it a few times. I honestly will say this is one of those few times that I actually did turn away and I didn't watch it 8,000 times to see if I could be more knowledgeable than anybody else. But from the times that I watched it, it seemed like every play that you see every fucking year, every game.
Well, all I've seen is the NFL needs to make safety a bigger priority.
They?
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, again, if you saw the hit, it wasn't a vicious hit. It was just a normal. It
was a tackle
that you see on every play. There was nothing unusual about it, nothing vicious about it, nothing overly extreme about it. He was in a play. There was a tackle, and the guy fell over.
Yeah.
But you don't know what the medical emergency or what caused it or anything. It just happened to happen at that moment, but we don't know what happened. We're not doctors.
Yeah, as much as it could be the coof shot, it could equally just be that his heart was in between beats at the time that his chest got hit and hit his heart.
Yeah,
we don't know. Well, we don't know.
But it isn't a safety thing. And now it's all about, should children play football?
Yeah,
Maybe
okay.
Parents should rethink that.
Well, let's put everybody in a suit of armor then and play. In fact, let's just build robots to play the games.
No, you have to put styrofoam and bubble wrap everywhere now.
Yeah, I say just get robots out there to play. That would be better. Just have robots get out there and play.
Everything is safety. We're doing this for your safety.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there's no safety in anything. You go out in your fucking car, you're more at risk than you are of fucking getting your heart to stop in a football game.
Sure.
I mean, there's been one guy in 100 fucking years. This guy. How many car accidents were there today? How many deaths were there in car accidents today?
Right.
And I guarantee you all these fucking people that are calling for the boycott of the NFL drove their car today. Fucking jizzbags. And the main jizzbag is Scott Van Pelt. What a fucking ghoul.
I hate that fucking guy.
I really do. Well, I don't like ESPN anyway.
Right.
I really do not like ESPN anyway. You know, with all their fucking woke horse shit that they just pound. They seem to do it less now, somewhat, because I think they lost an assload of audience. But
they've slipped down in the ratings extremely bad.
Well, and I will be the first one to admit I am one of those guys. I used to watch Sports Center every morning.
Mm-hmm.
That was part of my day was Sports Center. Like when I would get up in the morning, I'd turn on Sports Center, eating breakfast or whatever. I cannot even remember the last time I watched Sports Center. The only time I see ESPN at all is on Monday Night Football. It's the only time I see it. I don't watch that shit anymore. Fuck that.
Yeah.
You know. So, yeah, the Killer Miller in the chat hit this on the head. For sports reporters, this was the equivalent of the assassination attempt on the president. It's absolutely correct. This was a gold mine for sports reporting.
Right.
Just disgusting.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I know a lot was made of it. I mean, you know, I don't watch news. The news that I do get, I read.
Right.
And that's it, you know, and of course that was the headline for, as you put it, for days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just like, yeah, I get it. This kid collapsed on the field, but none of us know why.
Yeah.
None of us know why.
Yeah. Yeah. John Phillips in the other chat, in the chat and kill chats, he makes a good point here. Don't entirely pin it on Van Pelt. He's got someone in his ear edging him on. Probably true. That's a fair point, but he's still doing it. He's the one on camera that can say, you know what? Fuck this. Let's go to break. You know, he could easily say that. And maybe they replace him. Maybe they don't, but you know, just enough with the over dramatic, ghoulish, hopefully he dies because it makes for a better story type of a broadcast that it felt like he was doing. At least it felt like that to me.
Right.
You know, but anyway, that was Damar Hamlin. Glad to hear he's better or doing better. I'm sure he's not better, but
he's off the breathing apparatus, and you know, he's talking, and I guess he did like a FaceTime thing with his family and things like that. So
well, that's good.
You know, so you know, he'll probably be okay.
Yeah, getting off the breathing tube is a biggie.
Sure.
And boy, I could tell you from experience, that shit hurts. Holy smokes, does that hurt when they pull that motherfucker out?
Right.
Because it kind of like attaches a little bit to all your insides.
Yeah, well, you know, that's the whole thing with this coof that, you know, we were under lockdown for forever. You know, now of course in hindsight, they're looking back at the people who, you know, got intubated with the breathing tube, and a lot of the people who suffered injury or never recovered or whatever was due to improper placement of the breathing tube. they just did it wrong. You know, they weren't experienced, and they did more damage than good by intubating people with this breathing apparatus. No. They you know, because of lack of experience or lack of care or whatever you want to call it, a lot of people from what they're discovering now probably suffered and died due to improperly placed breathing apparatus.
No, well, I'm certainly glad that I said no when they offered it to me. I said absolutely no. Not because I was worried about them putting it in wrong, though.
And it's just like, well, once you go that far, that's curtain. That's Coyton's, my friend. It's Coyton's.
I ain't gonna lie. I looked at Justin Murr and I looked at Bill Shavis and was like, nope.
Yep.
Those two both got the tube, and those two both died. And I was like, I am not going down that path. If I die, it's on my own terms.
Right. And the other thing is it wasn't regulated properly. You know, for a lot of people, they didn't regulate the breathing and all that stuff properly.
Well, I didn't know anything about all that. I was half delirious myself.
A lot of people didn't know it at that time either. But now that
Sure.
we have a chance to look back now that they're talking about, so it's you know,
I just know when they came into me and the doctor gave me I think we're gonna have to put the breathing tube in because we can't get your oxygen numbers to a certain level.
Right.
And I was like, nope, not gonna happen. And she's like, no, you have to. And I was like, nope.
And we're not doing that.
No, just tell me where to sign that I'm turning that down because I ain't doing that. I told her absolutely no.
I'm not doing that, Pally.
I was not doing that. There was no way. And again, I'm being as honest as I can be here. The reason why was Bill Shavis and Justin Murr.
Yeah, I get it.
You know, those two put the tube in. Those two died right at the same time. I wasn't going down the same path. I was going to die on my own terms, not on theirs.
I get it.
Thank you.
I get it.
But anyway, so that's that.
Sure.
Thanks for checking out this episode of The Classic Metal Show. Get all of our episodes uncensored at www.theclassicmetalshow.com. Join us weekly from 9 p.m. till 3 a.m. Eastern at www.cmsradio.net. Participate in the live chat room at www.chatandkill.com. Once again, thank you for checking out The Classic Metal Show with Neeley and Chris. Hail and kill, fuck you, pal, and hand job.